How's
Got it.
everyone doing today? Welcome to Butcher and the Beard. I'm David Butcher. That's my good friend John Shanley. And this
Good
is
morning,
episode
everybody.
5. Good morning. How's
Good
everyone
morning. Yep.
doing?
Yeah, we overslept a little bit this morning, but a couple
Yeah,
of
that's
good
right.
late night games.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, Dave. I watched the Bengals game. That was actually a great game.
yeah.
T. Higgins with that amazing catch at the end to tie it. Just really good game in that. Then I started watching Pittsburgh, and by the second half, I was just done. And by 7 o'clock, Rangers game went on. So
Yeah, you
Rangers
did.
Bruins popped that on. Absolutely great, riveting game. 1-1. Two of the top teams, and you get what you want. A lot of fights, a lot of penalties, penalty kills. Rangers tie it in the third, and then we get it the win in overtime.
That's awesome.
Then I watched the Knicks get absolutely destroyed by the Clippers, but it wasn't one of those we suck, we got destroyed. It was this is our third road trip game in 4 nights against a really good of freaking opponent, and Clippers were rested, and there was one sequence where we were up four, and like within a minute later we were down like 12. So you could tell like they were just like, I'm done with this shit. I want to
Yeah,
I want to get through this game, and they still fought and they tried to
yeah,
make some runs, but it was like we just need a night off and
yeah,
have
for
some
sure.
beers, relax, and then get ready for the Lakers on Monday. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna kill them for that. What'd you watch last night?
Yeah, no, I watched a couple of I watched the games. I didn't watch the Colts and the Steelers. I did. I had no interest. I had some things I had to do anyway, so I
Hmm.
was they weren't on the TV at that time, but I did end up ending my night with the Lightning, and that was a late game, 10 o'clock. So I was watching that, and it was a disappointment, but hey, it happens. They're on their strives, they're on their grind, they're trying to do their thing. I was listening to a stat on that about that game was that I think they said that there's no goals by anyone 22 or younger on the Lightning right now, which is like very bad to
Yeah,
say because that means
yeah,
your
there.
older players are the only ones scoring, and that means the end of the dynasty is coming. And I don't want
Yeah.
to think about that because watching them win Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup, so and then being in there multiple
Hey
years.
man,
So
believe me, I was a Yankee fan. When the end of the dynasty comes, it's disheartening, and you're
yeah,
just
it
like waiting
really
for them to
is.
turn it around. But then
Yeah.
it doesn't happen, and that's when you start to realize, hey man, enjoy it when it's there because
Yeah,
it's
no,
not
I
always going to be there.
Yeah, for sure. No, because that's what it was in my brain is like, I'm like, wow, I heard that stat. I'm like, okay, that's not good because they're getting people out of college at 18, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And or like even not even going to college and just getting right to the minor leagues or whatever they call it. What are they? I can't even think of the name right now. The Tampa Bay Lightning's like triple A league or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I can't think of them right now. I know the name, but it's coming to a blank. It happens sometimes, we're human. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I
absolutely.
ended up my night with, and I woke up this morning and I said, ah, what a rough game.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh, going over yesterday's games, we both took the Bengals.
we did.
Obviously, that was a great game. I'm glad you got
Yeah,
to see some of that, and it was very exciting. Went into overtime. A lot of big play after big play. It was actually a really fun game to watch.
that was a
Uh,
good one for sure.
and we both took the Steelers, but it was like I said, we were just banking on that. You
We
know,
thought the
we
turnaround was
thought the
coming,
turnaround was early, and you know what? I watched the game. The defense was fine in the first half, but man, that
Yeah.
offense, Trubisky is just not the answer. He is just,
No.
we went with our hearts, but reality set in real quick when they could not do anything.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
their defense put them in prime positions. That's how they even got their touchdown because of
Yeah.
a fumble recover or an interception, and then but then the Colts. Any offense is going to wear you down when your defense is on the field the entire time. So
Yeah, if you're not moving
without
the ball at all.
right, so without Pickens, Pickett, the Steelers are done.
Yeah.
Whatever. Colts, took care of business, and that's it. And then we both took the Broncos because we thought, the
Yeah,
Lions kind of like sliding, but you know what? Lions showed up. I guess finally they woke up, got
yeah,
that punch in the mouth that they needed.
yeah,
Probably
for
heard
sure.
all the stuff that Goff wasn't the man, and you know what? They go and they blow them out. Denver was hot, was a good team, and they 42-17. They handled their business. I was kind of keeping an eye on that game, even though I wasn't really watching it. And good for the Lions. I'm glad,
Yeah,
man.
no, I watched that whole game. It was literally I was doing some stuff while I watched that game, but the Lions were they there to roar. You know what I mean? Like they were open to the kingdoms of the jungle for the first game. I'm not gonna say that the Broncos because like all right, the Broncos been hot, so you get it. Like, so you're like, okay, their turnaround is here. But at the same time, we know who the Broncos are too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
that's
when
true.
they're having bad times,
Yeah.
they're having bad times. So, as a Dolphin fan watching them put up 50 points, people can say, "Oh, that was a different Bronco." No, it wasn't. Like there was a couple injuries, but that was
Right.
literally the same offense that was out there and when
Yeah.
there's a team, they okay, so what it is I don't think they run cover two or they're man to man because they did the same thing with the Dolphins and look what happened there. And they did the same thing with the Lions, which has a like kind of similar offense of like high power flying offense with like St. Brown and Gibbs and stuff like that and Montgomery and stuff like that, where they could just run
Right.
you over. And it,
Hmm.
it proved that that's what it is. So it all comes down to when we're like not discussing games or like when we're looking at games it's like, hey, what's that offense compared to that defense that ran last time? If you want to like per se, so it's like, oh, this defense is really good against these kind of quarterbacks or these offenses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when there's a lot of stuff on the field, they kind of get into a shamble, and that's what it proved again. Like with that game because they didn't know who to cover. You have Laporta, you have St. Brown, you have
Yeah. Yeah.
Gibbs.
Yeah.
You know what I
Oh yeah.
mean?
Detroit's
So
got some weapons.
so like that's just proved it. Like when like the Dolphins played the Broncos, you had Tyreek Hill, you have Jalen Waddle, you have Barrios, you have just so many, and then you got like Achan and you have Mostert. You don't know who to go to. So their defense is not built. And that's what they're proving. When there's like one star receiver, say they play like DK Metcalf, like they're just gonna put it all on DK Metcalf because they have good enough defense for that.
Right.
So it comes down to like, hey, we have a good enough defense to stop a guy, but we don't have a good enough defense to stop a surrounding cast.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's what I watched. I watched the whole game
Right.
pretty much.
But
And
you have very valid points. At the
yeah,
same time, the Lions had to execute, and they did.
that's a
And
hundred. It's
they
yeah,
played great, and hopefully this propels them.
yeah,
I listen. I'm rooting for the Lions. I might not pick them, but I'm rooting for them.
yeah, for sure.
I want to see the Lions in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're
That
they're
would
they're a
be
fun team. Yeah,
something.
I feel like it's gonna be the Eagles versus them in the NFC Championship game. That's what it looks like. I know the Eagles are on their thing, but they'll get right. The offensive line is still there.
Oh
No
yeah,
one's
well
hurt.
they have, like I said, I'm a realistic Giant fan. They got the Eagles have us twice, so that's two easy wins.
Yeah, and that
I mean, obviously, I hope not. I hope we beat them, but
yeah,
realistically, like we're no match for them. We got our asses kicked by them 3 times last year, and I don't expect them.
you're not lying. It all comes down to seeding because if you let
Right?
Dallas in there too with a seeding
I know
of being
Dallas, and
high,
like I said, that was a huge win last week by Dallas, but
yeah.
they have a tougher schedule. They got it now. Like they're in Buffalo today, and I
Yeah,
don't.
Buffalo. Then they had to go to Miami on
Yeah,
Christmas Eve. It's and the Dolphins are now the Buffalo are fighting for a playoff spot. The Dolphins are fighting for the first seed or a
right.
division now because of the loss to the Titans. So there's a lot of things that are the Dallas is gonna have to really play some good football. And they're traveling and they don't do good. Are they in Buffalo? We'll discuss
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're in
Yeah. Yeah.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like Dallas, and they're home for the Lions. So like Lions proved again that they're good. It's going to be a tough game in Dallas,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. Like they're still a playoff team.
Yeah, for sure.
So all right. So all right, that's our stuff for yesterday. Let's
That's our
start.
stuff for
Let's get
yesterday.
into today's games, guys.
Yeah, let's get it.
NFL Sunday. This is what our bread and butter is right now.
Yeah, for
So we
sure. We
get our
love
crazy
football.
picks, during the week. But for this show, for the Sundays, during football season, this is it. This is what we
Yeah.
live for, man. We live
Yeah.
for the whole thing. We do fantasy, we gamble, we do it all.
We do it
You know,
all.
so I don't know about you, Dave, but as soon as we get out of here, that pregame, I'm gonna be cracking open a few beers and
Oh,
watching,
nice, man. I
getting
got a
ready.
couple of things I got to do, but I think the rum and coke might be following
Oh
itself
yeah,
to,
definitely.
it might have to.
All right.
Nice.
So let's see. So let's start with the 1 o'clock games.
Yep.
So on my little rundown here, my first one is the Giants, obviously, because they're my favorite team, so they're going to be first on the list. Giants
Okay.
and Saints. very winnable game for the
Yeah.
Giants, even though their Saints are favored by 5. This might be a trap game because
Yeah.
the Giants have won a bunch of games in a row. So just like everyone expected them to lose to the Packers,
Yeah,
now
we did.
might everyone might expect them to beat the Saints, and they might put up a dud and get spanked by the Saints because that's just
What
how
do
the
you
NFL
think
and Vegas
Tommy
works.
Cutlets is gonna do?
I he's gonna manage the game. He's gonna look to run, be aggressive, because he doesn't want to keep taking those sacks. He was not sacked last week, but again, it was a home game.
Yeah.
Young players, there's definitely a difference in how they play at home and on the road. Um, the Saints aren't great. They're 6-7. The Giants are 5-8. They're probably around the same quality of talent and
Yeah.
and where they are. Saints are the home team. I'm never going to bet against the Giants, so I'm going to take the Giants.
Yeah.
But
You think
honestly, like it's if they don't do it, whatever.
you
You
think
know,
that the defense can stop Chris Olave and Alvin
I
Kamara?
think so.
That's you think
Like our
so?
defense have played well, and that's the thing. Like earlier in the season, the defense going into the season, we knew the defense was going to be pretty good because we had some young, good talent, and we can get after the quarterback. But
Yeah.
you know, we haven't stopped the run quite as well as I expected us to do, and at the same time, you're on the field because our offense was so inept.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you're going to run the ball with Barkley, so you'll load up the line, you stop
Yep.
them, and then it's like a 3 and out. And then Daniel Jones was just really bad in the beginning of the year, especially when Barkley got hurt. Like it was
Yeah.
just a lot of bad things. And then like
Because
they
you're oh no,
they
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say they had a great impressive win against the comeback win, I should say, against the
Yeah.
Cardinals. But
Yeah.
then, Saquon got hurt at that game, and then when they didn't have it, they lost. They lost bad and they lost ugly. So
Yeah.
as the season goes on, they got better and better, and now they have a young quarterback on the road. Anything can happen.
Yeah, for sure.
They are that middle of the road talent, probably a little bit bottom, like bottom middle. If that's the thing.
Yeah, they're playing like way better than what their not
Well,
their record of their stats. They're playing like their record, which is good because they're not
right,
they're winning games. You know what I mean? And
right.
what
They're
you would have
five and
told
eight.
me, yeah,
You're
you would have
not. You're not three and you're not one. You're not a
that's what
one,
I
two,
thought.
or
That's
three
what I
win
thought they
team.
would have been with
Right.
all the injuries, So because they're
Yeah.
right now, they played the Packers, right? And they're ranked 31st in offense.
Yeah.
So they scored, right? And then their defense is 24th, and then they contained. So
Yeah.
now you're going up again, and their passing is 32nd. So you can't even throw the ball when you're
Right.
the Giants.
And
So
and, and that's the thing about the Giants too. Like they're a little skewed because they got spanked by Dallas in that opening week, 40 to
yeah,
nothing or whatever.
yeah, it
But
was.
overall, at least the last 3 or 4 home games, their defenses played really well at home. So
Yeah,
they played decent on the road as well. But they
yeah.
they should have beaten Buffalo, but they whatever
Yeah,
close game.
that game, we won't talk about that game because
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
so
anyway,
no,
so
they're definitely
I I'm gonna
not
take the
bad.
Giants. Hope I'm gonna root for them anyway. So even if I'm wrong, I don't
Yeah,
whatever.
no, I'm gonna take the the Saints.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Like
know
I
if
said,
Tommy
I wouldn't be
Cutlets is gonna do
surprised.
it again, but yeah, I'm gonna take the Saints.
Like I said, a lot of people might be on the Giants this week, so Vegas might be like, "Hey,
Yeah,
gotta make sure
that's the naughty list they
we're
gotta
gonna
put
make
them on.
sure that we're gonna make sure that the house wins."
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we know
So
about the house rules
okay.
as casinos workers.
All right. So that's my team. Next will be yours, Jets and Dolphins.
All right, all right. We got the Dolphins 9-4 and the
Hmm.
Jets 5-8 coming into Miami into a hurricane. It is
Hmm.
going to be probably raining. I hope that we run the ball. The good thing about the Dolphins is they lost offensive linemen, so
Hmm.
just keep running. And the good thing is that the Jets have, if it's going to be mucky out there, then they're going to be running, and we contain the run pretty well. So that's what it comes down to. So we do really do good on that. So we are going to be looking for that. But they just what they put up 30 points, and the
Yeah.
Dolphins are going to be looking to win that game because of after last week with that meltdown. You know what I mean? So I'm always going Dolphins. I'm biased, but they are playing good this
Yeah, I know
year.
the feeling.
Yeah, we are
I
still.
when I'm looking at this game, I say, yeah, the Jets won last week when they had no business winning.
Yeah.
Again, they have no business winning, but they have a good defense. And if it's ugly weather, that's actually going to help the Jets because it's
Yeah,
going
for
to
sure.
be a defensive thing. The Dolphins want like pristine weather because you want all those weapons running all
Yeah.
over the damn
Yeah.
field.
We don't know if Tyreek Hill
Um,
is playing yet. So
and
that's
we don't know if Tyreek.
yeah.
That is a huge, huge, huge thing
The
because
good thing though,
it's
what
ugly
I'm
weather.
thinking in my head is that the week though, you got to practice without Tyreek Hill because the Dolphins still won games with Jalen Waddle. You know what I mean? Jalen
Oh
Waddle's
yeah,
still
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
So I want people to know that. Like
No,
they
they have
always
a
go,
higher when you have a high powered offense, you can
yeah.
score running the ball, passing the ball,
Yeah,
whatever.
and
You
Mostert's
know?
there. Like I think that sometimes when you're a star quarterback and you're a
Yeah.
star receiver, you want to link up together. It's just the way it works. You don't think that Josh Allen doesn't want to throw to Stephon Diggs every play.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And like we said, the Jets have a good defense.
yeah,
So,
they do. They're fifth ranked defense.
as long as they could protect Tua, I'm liking the Dolphins in this
Yeah,
game. The spread is 7.5. Honestly, if I was betting, I might take the Jets with the points.
yeah, the points. Yeah,
Um,
I think the
but
money line, the
I
Dolphins
still
still.
feel the Dolphins will get the W. You
Yeah,
know,
me too.
they need it.
They need it.
The Dolphins, Bills. Those two guys are fighting for the division. Like
Yep.
Jets win this, it's just gonna be like throwing a fucking grenade in the playoffs. So, who knows? That's the NFL, but I like the Dolphins in
Yeah,
this
me
one.
too. I think so.
All right. Texans and Titans. That's going to be an interesting one. 7-6 Texans, 5-8 Titans. Texans coming off that ugly loss to the Jets.
Yeah, but now
Um,
there's no CJ Stroud. Davis
yeah,
Mills. I gotta go the Titans, man. They just beat the
I
Dolphins.
know.
I can't see them. I think Houston just lost it all. That concussion just threw them out. And what's even
And,
worse? That was at the last like two plays of the game.
mhm.
Like it would have
And the
been easy
Titans
to
are one
like
of
take.
those things. You
Yeah,
got, you got some, the Titans are, they're 5-8. They have not had a good year, but you got some stars in that. You got DeAndre Hopkins, you got Derrick Henry. Like you've got some star power on that team.
yeah.
So
Like
let's see
they
what the
said.
weather is going to be like.
Yeah, put the
48
put.
degrees and sunny.
Yeah,
It's in Tennessee. Yeah, I like the
yeah.
Titans in this
Yeah, I'm
game.
picking the Titans. When CJ Stroud's not there and you got Davis Mills, though, maybe hey, everybody that collects Davis Mills sport cards, you need to you get him out. Hopefully he plays a good game. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah. Uh, yeah, all right. Let's go to the
yeah.
Packers and the Bucks. In Green Bay, I think they recover from the loss to the Giants. They're both 6-7. Even though the Bucks will win in the division, I don't see them winning this game. You know,
Yeah, the Packer. I'm gonna pick the Bucks because I think Baker Mayfield is gonna have to ball out. If he wants to continue his career, he's gonna have to
yeah,
ball out. And the Packers just lost
yeah.
so to the
And
Giants. So
they're
you,
still a young team, the Packers, so they
yeah,
might, you got to see how they respond. But a
yeah,
lot of times, if you're going to respond, you're going to respond on the road.
yeah,
So, or I'm
yeah.
sorry, you're going to
Home for
respond
sure.
at
Yeah,
home.
yes.
So, the Packers are home. I wonder if it's going to snow. I just want to see some goddamn snow
Yeah,
already. We're
I know,
in
right?
December, you know?
And I don't have we seen one snow game yet?
No, not yet. Well, it's 34 degrees, so the
Well,
temperature is right around there.
I'm starting to think that the NFL is like doing a projection of like because they said that they changed the way that they do like their thing, and they're letting the AI kind of pick.
Okay.
So the AI is maybe saying that they played a bunch of games in no snow and it was more fun. Like I'm not saying that that's the
Um,
truth because
well,
I'm
I'm
saying
sure
that
the players would rather not play in
yeah,
snow.
because like
Although
we
when I
love
was
snow
young,
games.
I never played professional football.
Yeah,
But we used to, play the backyard stuff. And like
yeah.
if it was snow on the ground, we were out there,
Well, because that's what it does. It runs it 1,000 times, say, right? And say
Right.
that, like, hey, it played it in snow and the game was 7-0, which no
Yeah.
one wants to see a 7-0 game. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They're like, hey, if we put this at this time, because look, they're putting the Dolphins playing the Jets. Usually that's always a home game right now for the Jets, not the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's true.
And they brought it to Miami. They're like, hey, it's going to be like 70 degrees here, maybe rainy, maybe not. This is going to be a lot better
Yeah.
forecast than that. They want to see points. The NFL is all about points. It's not that hard
Well,
nosed
yeah,
defense
because
stuff
the
anymore.
over under and the fantasy stuff and
Yeah.
now all those fantasy prop
Yeah.
bets.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to get a 2 out of their running back. They want points. They want
they
18.
will.
They want
Yeah,
a
that's
couple of
it.
touchdowns.
Dude, it's a lot of things that are going into the consideration of when they're making these games because who would have thought that the Buffalo Bills are ending the year in Miami
Yeah,
and playing in September
yeah,
in Orchard Park. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So like that's never. Last year it was snowing. They were throwing snowballs at the Dolphin players. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah, I guess that's true. They want to stop the people getting snowballed.
yeah,
That's
because
just
that's
you
like the
know.
Philly fans too.
Oh
They do
yeah,
the same
exactly.
thing. So
Yeah. All right. So next we got, all right, the big expensive ticket on the thing, Falcons at Panthers, those 45-cent tickets.
45-cent tickets. You know
Yeah, we
what? It's
we
in
woke
it's
up
in
too late to
Carolina. Yeah, we did.
go to
I
the
couldn't do
game,
the
but
show and get there. Maybe what is it? A couple hour drive?
yeah, probably like from here.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, that's okay.
yeah.
I'll just take the trip to my
I
refrigerator.
think I got some investments from my e-trades that I can get my
Um,
45 cents back.
there you go. So, I mean, stinker. Panthers are at home.
If
Falcons.
is anybody
Falcons are the
picking the
obvious pick,
Panthers?
but they're only 3-point favorites on the road, and they are young. So, if the Panthers are going to get a second win, this might be it. But like, who cares? I'm not betting on the game, and my
No.
fantasy team has nobody in this game. And even
Yeah,
if I
Robinson
did, I'm
maybe. I
I'm
don't
in
have
the
Robinson,
I'm
but
in the
that's true.
consolation bracket anyway,
Yeah.
and it's just I'm not even concerned about this
Yeah.
game.
Those yesterday games, I
I
was
guess it's huge for the Falcons because if the Bucks lose, that puts them into first place
yeah, it's
in the
crazy. I
division.
wish I was in the NFC sometimes. The AFC
Oh,
is literally
oh yeah.
everybody's in the same freaking thing, 7 or 8 wins.
Well, that's the thing. Like, yes, there's so a lot of different conferences, but then you have a conference like this that's where all the teams are bad, and then you have conferences like the AFC and the NFC East where all of the teams are like either really good or just like pretty good. So
Yeah,
because like in the NFC East, you got the Cowboys and the Eagles, who are two of the top three teams in the league, and then
yeah.
you got the Giants and who are middle of the pack, and then you got the Redskins, who they've they have
Commanders.
not done well this year, but they actually aren't as bad as their record. It's just when you're playing top teams in your division twice a
Yeah,
year, that doesn't help. And
yeah, for sure, for
look at
sure.
the Dolphins division. Like the Jets are a pretty decent team. It's just
Yeah,
they don't have a good quarterback or a consistent quarterback. Like if
yeah,
Rodgers would have played, that might have been a little bit different.
for
Um,
sure.
but they have a good defense, and then obviously Buffalo's been good the last few years. Miami's been great the last few years, and they're on top because Tua has been healthy. That might have been a different story the last couple of years if he had been
Yeah, for sure. This is
gone.
the first true year
So
that Tua has been healthy the whole year.
you see the Patriots at the bottom of the barrel, but you're not used to saying that with Belichick.
Yeah.
He's whatever. They're not as
He
bad.
said, what they say, Brian Flores or Belichick to the Chargers.
Interesting.
The Las Vegas, I'm not the Las Vegas, the
I'm not
Los
so
Angeles
convinced
Chargers.
if I know there's talk out there, but I want to wait and see if it happens with Belichick because I mean,
Yeah.
dude's been there forever. He's won all those titles. Like, I feel like it would be one of those things where if they were going to part ways, he would step down himself. They
Yeah.
wouldn't say he was firing like, "Oh, I'm stepping away from the team. It's time for a change."
Yeah, for sure.
And then he might take a year off. He might do. I can't see him doing color commentary because if you've ever seen any of his interviews, he's just like,
He's only does fun interviews with Pat McAfee.
yeah,
It's
maybe.
the only
So
time. Maybe he could
I
get
can't.
hired on that show. Oh no, because he had the helmet on. Remember, he put the helmet on for the Army versus Navy game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so he's got a personality. You just gotta. There's some people that think things are funny when other people are around them. Sometimes they just have that little. They get that
Uh,
little blush around when it's a certain person. So Pat McAfee definitely has that personality that you
mhm.
could be funny around.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
But we'll see. We'll see Bill Belichick's future.
yeah, we'll
Next
definitely see
game.
that.
So this game, the Bears and the Browns, is one of the toughest games that when I was doing my picks for the week, this was one
Yeah,
of the toughest ones that I had because I'm like, man, both of these teams are, Chicago's 5-8, Cleveland's 8-5. Cleveland's at home. Cleveland's been good, but the Bears have been pretty good as recent. Now that Fields is back, they got their defense going, just enough offense. I feel like Cleveland's the better team,
Yeah.
but now you got Flacco in as their quarterback, right?
Yeah, he's playing good. He's playing
He's
good for
tearing
sure.
up. So I think I'm gonna take the Browns because they're at home and
Yeah.
Flacco's playing well. But man, I think that's going to be a really good
Yeah, this
game.
is going to be a really good game. I'm going to go with the Bears. I think Justin Fields is coming around.
Coming around.
I think the organization finally is trusting him. Let him do him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
Well,
from the jump when he came out of college. They said let Justin Fields be Justin Fields and play like a back school kind of football and just do himself. And he's there finally let it because then they're like, hey, we need you to sit in the pocket. No, Justin Fields not a pocket presence. He's a runner. He has a way better arm than like a lot of quarterbacks too. So
yeah.
like let him do his thing. Like what I would do is if I was like the coach or something, I'd be like, okay, I want you to still know the routes of of your players,
Mm-hmm.
but I want you to be free too because you're really athletic, you know? So, and
Well,
that's what
that's
he's
the thing.
playing
Like
like.
as the season goes on, you get better as a team.
Yeah.
Just that's the whole point.
Did he
Um,
just have like a 70-yard run the other game or
he
something like
did.
that?
He did.
Yeah. It was,
What I'm looking at too is like the Bears have won two in a row, but it was against a division opponent,
yeah.
which whatever it is, what it is. But the
Yeah.
Browns, I think they found something with Flacco.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to take the
this could
Bears
go
still,
either way.
but it could go either
Yeah,
way. I could see if
I'm
Joe
going to take
Flacco
the
gets
Browns. Yeah,
protection.
yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that the Dolphins and the Giants were playing at the same time, I'm gonna just keep a sly eye on that game.
Yes, I'm gonna have
You
that
know?
on. I have two monitors. I'm gonna have one game on there and one on the
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah. Exactly. Chiefs and Patriots. I expect this to be the Chiefs just blowing them out of the water. I mean, I know Belichick, whatever.
I hope that the Patriots win. I'm not even gonna front, like
Are you?
yeah, because
Oh well, yeah, because I guess
that
it hurts. It hurts
it
the
hurts the Chiefs. Like
the
I haven't
Chiefs.
seen the Chiefs 8-5 in how long now?
That's true. The Chiefs they've been struggling, man.
Yeah.
Obviously they're huge favorites in this game.
So were the Bills,
Um,
and they lost to the
that's
Patriots.
true. They did.
So
Um, So yeah, they lost to the Bills, but that was a close game. They lost that game to Green Bay. That's when Green Bay was beating teams they had no business beating.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
um, and then they beat Vegas, and then they lost to Philly. You can't really kill them on that, and they beat Miami. But I don't know. The Chiefs have been a little inconsistent, but
Yeah,
you
for
still have
sure.
Mahomes, who's the best player in the league.
Yep.
And even though the Patriots won that game last week
Yeah.
against Pittsburgh, they
Yeah.
were not impressive at all. Like
No.
they've lost four straight before that. And yeah, they had this offensive, like out of nowhere 21 points in the first quarter, but
Yeah.
that's all they scored. So like
Yeah.
obviously nothing's really changed about them. Um, but they just that 21 points was enough to win against the Steelers that couldn't put up points. So they're not going to be able to put up any kind of points. Like honestly, if the Chiefs put up 25, 20, 28 points,
Yeah.
that's
That.
enough to win. And like
Yeah.
that's
The
you're not going to keep you're not as good as Belichick is. They don't have the talent to keep that Chiefs
No, their defense is really
down.
good. We're not gonna lie and say Bill Belichick can't run a defense. You know what I mean? They're playing
Right.
good defense. But yes, if they score 15 to 20 points, I can't see the Patriots getting enough points to win that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
I
I and expect I see after the BS last week with Cardarius Tony, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good game.
Oh yeah, because he's gonna have to do what they did in the Little Giants, and he's gonna put that glue on his hands, and
Exactly.
he's gonna have to catch everything
Well,
because
he's gonna have to make sure that he lines up, on sides
yeah,
as well.
you see
So
the funny things where they like have him like, "Are you good here?" He's like,
yeah,
"Just
and
go in
he's
the
like,
end zone. I know him.
yeah,
I know the ref.
yeah, exactly.
Offsides." What?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the Chiefs are gonna pull that out. It's 8.5 favorites. I think they might even cover that. I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
Um, 49ers at Arizona. This is an interesting game because the Niners obviously are probably the best team in the league, but they kind of they kind of like run through everybody the last few weeks. And Arizona is one of those teams that have had some big upsets.
Yeah, for sure
Like
they
they
have.
beat Dallas earlier in the year.
Yeah, they're three, and Kyler Murray's not a scrub. You know what I mean?
No, he's
So,
not.
so
So like I expect, let's see, San Francisco is 11 and a half favorites. I would probably definitely take Arizona with the points.
yeah, with the points for sure.
Um, they just had a huge division win against at home against Seattle, and the big win was against Philly. You know, maybe they do. Maybe they just keep rolling. Maybe that's just what's going on. But like I said, Arizona, they only have 3 wins, but 2 of them are against 2 of the top teams.
Yeah,
In the league. So we'll see. Nice weather. I don't know.
I'm
I
still picking
just
the
Let me
49ers.
put it this: I'm still picking the 49ers, but I would not be shocked if there was an upset in this game, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
that makes more sense. You're
Yeah,
just eyeing that there could be an upset because
that could be an upset.
this team plays a little better when it's better competition, you
Right.
know, and that's what's going on with the Cardinals.
And
They
they're
can't,
home.
yeah,
The defense is going to be amped up, and like I said, like you can find if you find a way to slow down McCaffrey, like we could be dead wrong, and the Niners could just blow him out of the water
yeah.
because they
That's
have that
not
kind of talent.
board.
But
That yeah,
but whatever. Like I said, I'm picking the Niners, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like an upset special.
yeah.
Next, we've got the Commanders and the Rams. Snooze fest. Hey, check this out.
What was
Yeah.
that? What was that?
We got some sound effects for this episode. So, I expect the Rams to roll them. Commanders have not. They're 4-9. They have not done well this year. They're just looking to get to the off season, get healthy, and maybe build in the draft. But
Yeah,
I'm not expecting anything from the Rams.
you
They
mean the
earlier in the
Commanders?
season they won some games pretty close, and they gave you things, but they also give up the most sacks. Like their offensive line is bad.
Yeah,
So I'm not expecting
and I
anything
like
out of
Sam Howell. I like Sam Howell. He's gonna be good.
them. Right.
He's got a cannon, and he's like every day he wakes up, he goes, "I'm not buying these guys anything for Christmas."
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're not getting
Yeah.
here. Here you go, and it's a medical bill
Yeah.
for being sacked so much.
Yeah.
It's
There
like,
you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
So
Can we get
now
a
we have
round of applause for the offensive line?
I don't have that. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they deserve a golf clap for that performance. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to a real game at 4:30. The Cowboys and the Bills. Actually, this is going to be a good game.
Yeah.
Cowboys 10-3, Bills 7-6. Bills fighting for a playoff spot, but they beat the Chiefs last week, and just when you're thinking they might be down with a few bad losses, they're fighting, they're coming back up. They're at home, they're 2-point favorites, but I think I'm going with Dallas. I think they're
Yeah,
hot.
I'm going. Yeah, me too.
They are on the road, and they have not overall played well on the road.
It's time to,
It could be a trap game because you
yeah.
just come off the emotional win over the Eagles.
Yep.
But I feel like if this is going to be your year, these are the games you got to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially on the road. You know what I mean? Because with the Eagles, if they just get this schedule, like we said, is going
Yeah.
to be
They
easy
have a much
going,
easier schedule,
a
so you
much
have
easier
to win these
schedule
games.
rank. So you're going to have
Mhm.
to win on the road against playoff caliber teams. And the Buffalo Bills, no one's going to say they might be having a down year. No one's saying that
Oh, they're
they're,
absolutely a playoff caliber, really good team.
yeah.
They have not been dominant at home, but you're still at home. You're
Yeah.
gonna
They played
have
that game versus the Dolphins at the beginning. They did their Super Bowl early
right.
on where they dominated. They're like, oh, we're the
Yeah.
Buffalo Bill fans. I'm biased. I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys no matter what. But yeah,
You're hoping that Dallas wins because it's
yeah.
going to
Oh,
help the
that's true.
Dolphins. But
Yeah, with the
like I said, like I was saying this year, it's been one of the hardest predictions for me to predict who's going to go to the Super Bowl. The last few years,
yeah,
I've been pretty good and pretty right on, but this year it's like I kind of like Dallas, and their
Yeah.
history tells me that I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But and they have not beaten any really good teams on the road. But we'll see. Like I said, this is their opportunity. You
This
know,
is
they
a
have the
test.
talent. They have the talent. So let's see if you can go out there and do it. You know,
Yeah.
obviously I'm a biased Giant fan, but I'm trying to be realistic. You know, these
Yeah,
Dallas is a
if the
good
Bills
team,
were playing the Commanders, I would say the Bills. So I'm biased, but this is a game that I see Dallas winning. You know what
right?
I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I think they can, and we'll see. I'm going
yeah,
with Dallas on the road, and if they lose, whatever. You know,
yeah,
they're gonna win my trash award for Tuesday,
yeah.
but
That's it. Yeah, for Tuesday trash reward
but
going to the
you know,
Cowboys, who
for
can't
right
prove.
now, we're
Yeah,
taking the Cowboys. All
yeah.
right, then we have a really cool matchup: the Ravens and the Jaguars. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, Ravens 10-3, top of the division. Jacksonville 8-5, top of their division.
yeah.
Everybody loves the Ravens, but you know, like I said, yes, they've won, you know, 4 of the last 5, but like they blow games late, you know,
Yeah,
and I'm not trusting them. Yes, they have the best record right now. They're the number 1 seed, but I'm not trusting them in the playoffs. You know, they
yeah,
haven't proved it yet, and you know, we're gonna see. You know, that's similar to how like Dallas hasn't proven it, but
yeah,
you know, eventually you're going to get over that hump. I'm not sure about Baltimore, but you know, you can't really count them out. Jacksonville, you know, they went through some interesting, you know, twists and turns. They started out a little colder than they expected because they won the division last year. Then
yeah,
they won a bunch of games in a row, and now they've lost 3 of their last 5.
yeah,
They've lost 2 in a row. Once was in overtime to Cincinnati, and then you know another close game on the road at Cleveland. So I feel like this is you know they're going to be home in Jacksonville.
yeah.
They're you know they're hosting Baltimore. I kind of like Jacksonville in this game, but it's going to be close.
It's
You
going to be close for sure. I think I'm leaning the same way. Like you said, they're not proving that they're beating the bigger teams. I think that the Jags are going to have to start showing, hey, we are dominant still. I think
know,
Trevor Lawrence is going to be a week after his leg injury, the ankle. So he's going to be a little more healthier. I think
mhm.
Travis Etienne is going to run the ball very well after the showing that he's been having. So I'm leaning towards the Jags also. So like
But
that's
I think it's going to be one of those games where Baltimore gets out to a lead because Baltimore always gets out to a
yeah,
lead.
that's
You know, like they
yeah,
like Baltimore first half is probably like as guaranteed as a bet as you can find this year.
yeah,
And then Jacksonville, I expect them to make a comeback. You know, they have the coach, they got the quarterback, you know, they got the receivers to
yeah.
make those little late comebacks, and they have the defense that can you know slow Baltimore down in the second half. So, you know, my prediction: Baltimore goes up early, and Jacksonville comes back and makes the game and pulls out the W.
Like normal. That's the normal thing the Ravens do. We've seen it
Yeah.
count after count after count. And when you're playing playoff teams, those are the games you can't let come back.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's gonna have a bad game, and we've seen it. I first-handed seen it last week with the Dolphins, literally letting the team come back. 14 points down. So
Mm-hmm.
it happens. So, but the big teams, you got to play like the whole game.
Exactly.
So
Um, finally, we got the Monday night game. It's the Eagles and the Seahawks. This is real interesting.
yeah,
Um,
I think Geno Smith is still injured, right?
yeah, I think he's still injured.
Yeah. That's the problem. That's why the Seahawks are 6-7 because Geno Smith, it
So
was
he's
really
questionable, which means
okay.
it's probably going to be a game time decision for
Yeah.
Geno. You know, Seahawks are a good team, but they have been decimated by injuries. They
Yeah.
really have. Philly is going to look to rebound from the loss to Dallas, but it's in Seattle and they have the crowd, which is always a factor.
Yeah.
You know, he's not listed on the injury report, but we both had mentioned that Hurts does not look 100%.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a real interesting game. I feel like Seattle's got too many injuries to overcome, and Philly's going to win a close game. But you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll
Yeah.
see. And I think
I'm picking the Eagles.
yeah, I think if Seattle does win, it's going to be very telling for Philly.
Yes.
They might not be the same team that they were last year. I know defensively they're not the same team they were last year,
No.
but you know, offensively they might take a even though they might win the division and get a couple of home games,
Yeah.
I don't think someone can go in there and beat them. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You know,
100%. I don't think they're invincible either. So,
so
but
we'll
having home
see.
games are nice in the playoffs.
Right. It's huge, you know,
Yeah.
especially like last year was huge for Philly because their defensive line last year could get after you. You know,
Yeah.
I predicted them early. I was like, you know, by Thanksgiving last year, I think they only had one loss, and I'm like, if they get home field, I like nobody's coming into the Philly and beating them because their defensive line is just so good, and like that Philly crowd's going to be crazy, and you know, just enough to get any of those guys to sack you and put pressure, but they don't have that same
Yeah.
you know
Even though they
defensive
have,
pressure this year. They
yeah.
lost some guys and whatnot. Like so, I feel like defenses can keep them off. You know, not to say that Philly can't still win. You
Yeah.
know, but I'm feeling like they're a little more vulnerable than they were last year. So, so that's it for our NBA. Sorry, NFL picks for this episode. Um, we're gonna enjoy a long day of football.
Yep. Long,
Um,
good day of football.
I'm not going to get too much into NHL or NBA picks for today because it's NFL Sunday.
NFL Sunday.
Right. Well, after the NFL's done, we'll have plenty of time to talk about hockey and football.
Even
Maybe next
basketball.
week we've got right basketball.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have some more time. After football season next week,
Yeah.
maybe with the Christmas games, I'll go into a little bit more depth because we're going to record on Sundays and then we'll wait until Tuesdays. But that's it. That's our picks. Now it's time for our daily rants.
Our daily
So
rants.
Dave, you're
All
up.
right. All right. I'm going to my rant is about my good friend Thor's roommate,
Oh,
Vasky.
Vasilevsky.
Vasilevsky. Yes, that's my rant of the game. He is an amazing talent, 2 cups in his career, and I'm not going to take that away from him. But my rant is that he plays amazing, and in the next game, he's a bum. And my rant is hey, John Cooper, go out there, let him talk to him, tell him, hey, you need to go and sit on the bench. Let Johansson come in there. Take your spot for the next game. Just the next game, man. You can play as much as you want after that. You play really good and then you're bad. So I don't know what's going on. You went in there, you took the Oilers down, you did great, and then all of a sudden you come back here and you let the Flames, who have 11 wins, destroy you. Like we can't have that happening. So I know you got your pride. You're from Asgard, okay? I get it. I get it. You got lightning bolts through your whole body. You want to play every game, but at the end of the times, just sit down on the next game and then come back and it'll be different. All right. That's my rant. John, what's your rant?
So you're saying the Lightning need a better backup, huh? Or,
Yeah,
I don't
Johnson's
know.
good.
I would just say that he did come off a back surgery, so he's
Yeah.
probably going to be a little inconsistent. I can't kill him. He's going to get back to who he is. By the playoffs, and that's
Yeah. For
that's
sure.
all you can ask for that.
Yeah.
It's still early in the season. My rant is going to be about basketball and Jalen Brunson in particular. I'm an old Knicks fan, so like when I first got into it, the '90s Knicks were running rampant, and the thing about New York is they always want superstars. So like they made some decisions to bring in superstar coaches, superstar players, and it didn't always work out for them. So with the new regime and came in and they started really going back to their roots, and I think that's what makes it so special and so endearing. For me watching the Knicks right now and who's on the team and who's running the team, it's like watching a Christmas story. It's like my roots back into where they are making the Knicks good again.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson's dad played for the Knicks back in the '90s. He was a bench guy, whatever, but he never got a lot of full time. And back when the Knicks were really good, Pat Riley was their coach and Tom Thibodeau was like an assistant's assistant. So he was still on that bench. And through time, both of them, Thibodeau became a very successful coach with the Bulls. And then he took Brunson as his assistant. Like they obviously grew close within the Knicks organization, and here was Brunson having his little kid around all these players, and that was Jalen. So Jalen, grew up in that culture and in that, hard work, blue nose, blue collar, because even those Bulls teams, you had Derrick Rose, but you had a lot of blue collar, just, New York grit type of players.
Yeah.
And so now this kid goes up, he wins a few, national championships with Villanova, and he makes it to the NBA as a second round pick. The Knicks took a chance on him, but they're bringing him back. They hired Tom Thibodeau a few years ago. He's part of their DNA, and he's part of that grit. And then Brunson comes in, and here's this kid, who was a second round pick, drops 50 points in a game, and he's all about hard nosed. He takes offensive fouls. He's just a good gritty player. Now, are they all going to be a superstar team to win a championship? Probably not. But man, what a joy it is to watch. It's like watching their fathers play, but it's now the next generation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because
Awesome.
because they have that DNA and that history, it just makes it more nostalgic. So it's like I'm still watching, that 94 team in a version of 2023 and 2024. And I'm very grateful for that. So like I said, we might not be in a championship, but it's fun to watch and it's nostalgic to watch. And I'm very grateful for a guy like Jalen Brunson, man. Thibodeau even made a comment after the game that he had more points in that game than his father had in his whole career. But and I'm sure, like, because his father's an assistant, and even he said, when you watch a performance from your son like that, like, yes, you're a coach and you're going to be looking to critique certain things and this and that. He's like, but then, my role as a father just switched. When he hit that three to make 50, my heart just melted. Like, that's my boy out there. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
for sure.
So, that whole back to basics family, like, they'll build superstars with the cast they have now, and they're going to be competitive, and eventually changes will come and they might get a better name. But Brunson, man, it's been a joy to watch, and I'm going to enjoy watching him for the rest of his, Knicks career.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was a good rant.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. I try to stay positive instead of just ripping on people.
Yeah.
Even
On
though
the other hand, I don't like you. Rant.
well, also, ripping people gets ratings, so we'll see. Maybe during the week I'll have a few shots of whiskey and
yeah, there you go. They want to see you get
and change,
crazy.
and it'll be like the bad version of
Yeah.
of,
You
of
know what? I saw him play the next game. I hate him.
well, maybe not Brunson, but like
Yeah.
I'll turn to the bad version of the beard, and I might pick a player out, say like
Yeah.
I don't know, John
Save
Moran.
it for later.
Yeah,
Done.
I'll save it for that. We'll rip on some people on Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so that's it for this episode.
Thank you guys for coming in, hanging out with Butcher and the Beard. I'm David Butcher. That's John Shanley.
That's
we
me.
love you guys. Make sure you guys are liking,
Whoa!
subscribing. Hey, let's go. Make sure you guys are like,
All right,
subscribing.
let's go watch some football today. Enjoy.
Watch some football. Good luck, everybody out there, man.
And,
Make sure you get your bets in, your picks. Let's get it.
And we'll see you Tuesday.
We'll see you Tuesday. Thanks, guys.
Yep.